Athletic Director of the Year for Division One. I mean, what an unbelievable thing for you, for the university. So I know you're a humble guy, and I hate putting you on the spot to start off, but just talk a little bit about what that means to you and to JU.
Yeah, I think it's, appreciate you having me on, and I think it's definitely a testament to our staff and student athletes first. I think it's a recognition of the organization versus an individual, and I think we strive to put others ahead of self every day, and I think it's a reflection of that. Given the challenge that this year has been, our mission has always been to put our students, put our staff in front of ourselves, and I feel like we've really carried that out, and the award, I think, is a reflection of that mindset.
Oh, it is. I mean, even back when I was at JU, the J Who mentality. And so to see something like this happen for the department, for the university overall, is incredible. And we don't have to go too deep into it, but I'll put the link to the Dolphin Tales that we did a couple months ago now.
Yeah.
Jeez. But just talking about the year that was 2020 and having to deal with all that, and now having every sport happening at the same time. It's got to be just kind of like that icing on the cake of we got through it, and oh, by the way, this happened.
Yeah, it's been 2020 was a crazy year. 2021 has been crazy for different reasons. I think for better reasons. In that our student athletes are out there doing what they love to do, all at the same time, all in the same season, and it's a real testament to our staff, our coaches, our administration, our support staff, specifically our athletic trainers, our academic support, our strength coaches, the time and energy that a sport takes in any environment's a lot, but in an environment where you have to test once, 2, 3 times a week, and if you're an athletic trainer, you're the administrator of that. On top of what you're already doing with injury and prehab and rehab and the work that they've done managing 2 sports a lot of the times, because they're all playing in the same semester this spring, is nothing short of heroic. I mean, I think about Blas Rulas, who is our men's soccer and men's lacrosse athletic trainer. And both are having very successful seasons. There were times throughout the year where, I'll give you an example, on a Friday night, we played down at Stetson men's soccer. He got home at about 2 o'clock in the morning. He slept in the Rock Lacrosse Center, got on a flight with the lacrosse team the next morning to the Naval Academy game to work the Naval Academy men's lacrosse game. This weekend, fortunately, men's soccer is playing in the NCAA tournament. Men's lacrosse is only 20 minutes down the road at High Point, so the trip won't be as significant to get from one game to the other. But the staff deserves a ton of credit.
Yeah, I saw Doug Fry at the Jordan Mincy press conference, and he was saying the same thing, and not in a complaining way, of course, but just the administration of every test that they've had to do. Within their department, it's just unbelievable. And you talked about it, so we, pretty good season so far with everything going on.
Yeah.
You're heading to soccer right
yes.
after this?
Yeah, I'm a little underdressed today. I'm heading to Winston-Salem. Our men's soccer team won the ASUN regular season and tournament championship a couple weeks ago. Really proud of them. First time going to the NCAA tournament since 2008. They deserve it. Great group of guys. We head up. The tournament's all in the Cary, North Carolina area. We play at Wake Forest. We play on Wake Forest campus against American University tomorrow night, and then if we win that, we get the privilege of playing number 1 Clemson on Sunday night.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to earn it, right?
That's right.
Well, I mentioned Jordan Mincy, and I don't want to take too much time talking sports specific, but again, soccer's had a great season. Lacrosse is just continuing to cruise, but a lot of big things have happened in basketball as well. So if you want to talk just a few minutes about that.
Yeah, sure. We're very excited about the hiring of Jordan Mincy. And Jordan and his staff are a representation of exactly, I think, who we want to be, and that is a student first, relationship first department, and university. He's going to pour into these young men as much more than just basketball players, as people, develop them into men who are ready to take on the world after college. Obviously, the large focus will be on basketball, but it'll be much more than that. And that's what really stood out to me about Jordan. And you're already seeing that. We were able to re-recruit some of our guys back to campus. They entered the transfer portal. That's just the landscape when they realized that there'd be a coaching change. And we were able to re-engage with them. He was able to share with them, and right away they clicked. And he's been able to recruit well, and I know the guys are already working very hard to get better for next year. And as the semester winds down, a number of them will be here all summer, and the whole team will be here come summer 2, which starts at the end of June.
That's awesome. Yeah, it seemed like almost a week, maybe 2 weeks after the press conference, the announcing of his hiring. All of a sudden, you just saw it, basically hitting Twitter, just guys coming back, just one after the other. And I think that was a great testament to who he is and what he can do with the program. And then for me, like you said, rounding out more than just basketball, it was like 3 weeks after he had been hired, he's got the team out cleaning up the beaches.
Yes. And
so you see like the team atmosphere already happening, even though season's not for however many months it is away.
Yeah.
So great hire, a lot of exciting things just with the facilities and the coaching staff and all that. So a lot of great stuff. So I know you got to get running because, like you said, you got to get on the road. But I did want to talk, as we're going into the end of the school year, across Duval, everywhere, every level. Let's talk a little bit about that transition.
Sure.
Because we talked on Dolphin Tales again. I'll put that in because I think it was a great conversation of what happens when you get done playing at the collegiate level. But let's rewind even a little bit further and let's talk about what a high school kid might be thinking about. So if they are either, let's say, a junior going into their senior year or a senior getting ready to go to college, what, from your perspective as an athletic director and administrator, how can a high school kid set themselves up for success moving into the college arena?
Yeah, I think right now, the number one characteristic that young people, I think, have developed but need to continue to hone is adaptability, right? The whole recruiting environment has changed with COVID. Coaches haven't been able to go out and recruit prospective student athletes, haven't been able to come and visit campuses and meet with coaches. And so ensuring that you're able to communicate, whether it's via email, via phone, with video, with coaches that you are interested in potentially working with and going to school and playing for, and institutions you're interested in, making sure that you're on top of that. And so it has not been sort of the traditional environment of getting to know coaches face to face. Video conferencing, sending in your highlight tapes, sharing what it is you're doing via email communication or phone communication is so much more critical now than ever. Now, that's going to open up come June 1st when this recruiting dead period is lifted. And so coaches will be able to have prospective student athletes on campus for visits. Coaches will be able to attend events that they would normally attend, be able to see prospective student athletes that they would normally be able to see. So that's good. That's the sort of the first bit of context I would provide. At a ground level, though, I think what prospective student athletes need to be focusing on is still checking the boxes that are required to become student athletes. Register with the Eligibility Center. It used to be called the Clearinghouse. Register with the Eligibility Center. If you haven't done that by junior year, you need to do that. If you haven't done that by your senior year, you really need to do that. And I know there are prospective student athletes that have not done that. Wow. and do it late and don't do it until their senior year. That's okay, but you need to get on that. there are two requirements within the eligibility center: your amateurism certification, and then obviously your academic certification. And so the only way you're going to be able to play Division I sports is if you are your tasks, your jobs are completed through the eligibility center. So registrations first and foremost, completing the amateurism questionnaire, and then also sending in transcripts, right? The eligibility center needs to review your transcripts to ensure academically you've taken the proper courses per NCAA requirements to be eligible, you've achieved the proper grade point average, and can be viewed as a full qualifier is what they call it. A full qualifier, it ensures your eligibility. You won't receive that certification in most cases until the end of high school, but sending a transcript after your junior year will start that preliminary certification to let you know that you're on the right path, because you have to meet certain requirements by the end of your junior year. I'm calling back on my compliance days with this conversation. So that's a big one. Right now, the NCAA is not requiring test scores for at least a year, because the College Board has, at least this year, the College Board has sort of put a halt on that. A lot of universities have put a halt on that because it's been harder to take the test. There hasn't been as many testing dates available because of COVID. There weren't as many opportunities to take the test, so there's been some flexibility with the testing requirement. But the eligibility center normally will require a test score to match your transcript. And a lot of institutions might still too. So I do recommend, if you can, to take the SAT or ACT, because in normal years, in order to be eligible, you have to have a certain test score at a certain GPA on a sliding scale in order to be eligible. This year, again, is a little different because of all that's played out with COVID. So that's the biggest thing I would say, is to take care of business with the eligibility center, with the academics, with the test scores, with the amateurism. Obviously, going out and trying to promote yourself is important too. A lot of the time, coaches might not know you unless you reach out and communicate about yourself and promote yourself. It is easier now than ever for coaches to be able to pick up on who is at different places, or who is playing well, or who has been really successful in a given sport. But it's not going to hurt you if you proactively reach out to coaches, staff, university as well, to share all that it is you've been doing.
And it's such a different world from when I was, getting ready to go, into my senior year and then eventually come to JU. Chad Houseman, Chad Oliver, and I talk about it. They've got kids that are in high school now, so they're starting to get into that recruiting phase. But we were talking about, our dad's out there with the camcorders and sending physical VHS tapes. And, there was no way. Like, I didn't talk to any coach on the JU staff until I came to TA's winter camp.
Yeah.
No, I take that back. I talked to the pitching coach one time on the phone, but we didn't have social media, and I would never just reach out. But I think to your point, like, it's so wide open now. And I see a lot of your coaches do a great job where they're liking, retweeting, following these high school kids, and it's just incredible to see.
Yes.
And what's really cool about it is I saw some of them were committing to other universities, and your coaches were still congratulating them. And so it's this really cool dynamic where, like I said, instead of getting the sheet of who's going to be at this showcase, they already know.
Yes.
And so I think, to get a little bit uncomfortable from a student athlete perspective and go follow, one of the coaches at the university you want to get to, and put yourself out there, it's what a wild world.
It is much different. When I was a tennis player and I was getting recruited, I'm sure, like, when you were getting recruited to play baseball, coaches could only call you once a week. And I remember every Sunday night I would have a call from a coach at 8, a coach at 9, and a coach at 10. And by the time it was 9 and 10, I was ready to go to bed. But there was their weekly call. They would call me on Sunday because I said that's when I could talk. Now you can call unlimitedly, you can text unlimited, you could follow and like and retweet on social media. So things have changed. And so being able to understand that and expose yourself to that is critical.
Do you think the camps help and this is maybe a bit of a roundabout way to plug some of the summer camps, but I know soccer has a camp going on, baseball has a camp. So do those, again, that was my experience of, I probably send in a tape to JU, pitching coach calls me, I go to TA's winter camp, and that was it. I came on campus, loved it, and that was kind of the start of my story there. If you are I guess a high school kid overall, do those really help get you that exposure with the coaches, obviously, because it's a smaller setting and you've got that week or whatever it is with them?
Yeah, I think they can. And again, this year there's going to be camps. Last summer there weren't camps, and that, I think that unfortunately hurt programs and it hurt our prospective student athletes. And I think camps can really help. And I don't know if that they're going to be the end all be all, like maybe they used to be. Like if you got invited to a camp back in the day and played well, that was your ticket. But I think they can be part of it, right? I think they can get you seen, and I also think they can put you over the top. If a coach is sort of on the fence about a prospective student athlete, invites them to the camp, the kid shows out, presents himself well, you get to know him a little better because you're there with him for a few days or her for a few days. I think that maybe it can lead to an offer, but I think you got to do more than just camps. I think you got to do more than just camps, but I think this summer with them being open and our camps being back sort of on the calendar, I think it's always a way to help you get seen. And I also think it's a special way because if it's a few day camp, for you to learn campus too.
Sure.
And for you to learn about the school and whether it's a fit and whether if you feel comfortable there versus, just one visit to campus during the year or you meeting a coach, where you live. I think a camp is a setting where you can really get a feel for the university. Whether you're an athlete or not, whether you plan to play in college or not. Maybe you're a high school athlete and you don't want to play in college, but you love the sport and you want to go to a camp and you use the camp to see if you maybe want to go to school there. And so I think camps can serve a lot of purposes, and I'm just excited that they're back on the calendar for this summer.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, I got to end with this because I can't go an entire conversation without mentioning another hire that you guys made. This is more department-wide, I believe. I got to give a shout-out to D. Brown coming back to the university. He's been a big fan of the show. I say fan, I mean he's paid attention to one or two, so I can't make it more than it is. But to have D back, what an incredible thing. Talk to us a little bit about what that's going to do for really the department as a whole, but the student athletes, obviously.
Yeah, and D is committed, and he's as excited as we are to have him back. D's as excited or more excited to come back to his university and his city. D went to Bowles. D went to JU. He's coming home. And, D's going to be a mentor for a lot of people. He's going to be a mentor for me. He's going to be a mentor for our staff. He's going to be a mentor for our coaches. He's going to be a mentor for our student athletes. He's going to really serve in a role where, D's worked and played at levels that none of us have ever seen.
Right.
And so he's going to be able to really communicate and create an environment where he's going to be able to pick up where our blind spots are, right? You need to create a staff and a culture where you understand that you have shortcomings. Well, D can really, because of his experience, really fill a lot of those blind spots by his experiences, by who he's worked with, by the level that he's played at. And he immediately has credibility with our coaches and our student athletes. And so he's going to run a lot of our player development stuff for not just basketball, for all of our programs. He's going to sort of serve in a role as a coach's coach, be able to mentor our coaches with team dynamic, with player dynamic, with administrative dynamic. But also from a university perspective, there's no better ambassador, right? He's going to be able to really help in spaces like admissions, right? Like recruitment, like retention, like fundraising, and just general community engagement. And so to have a talent like D back on campus, I couldn't be more thrilled.
It's a lot of exciting stuff is going on, and I tell people all the time. I mean, the work that you've done, in your time there in that position. To go back on campus, if you haven't been on campus, whether you're an alum or just someone that lives in town and have never been out to JU, It's really incredible, just the size of everything. Just the level has really gone up. So Alex, a friend of the program, a 904 member, friend of mine. Really appreciate the time, and go Dolphins this
Go
weekend.
Dolphins. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thanks for having me.